Hi everybody, it's Bonkai922. Yeah, get some reviews in. Well, time to get some reviews in. I just uploaded Data Live. You guys go check that out. Fairy Tale. Now, my reasoning for, and I did this last week, like Blue Moon, for reasoning of going back to review Fairy Tale. There are several reasons actually. Number one, because of last week. Because of last week's chapter, because of Celestial King going in, doing all this shit against Hades, that was epic. It needed to be reviewed. This week's chapter was just as good. It's just I felt like it could have been, because that was an interesting fight. I thought that fight with Hades and Celestial King, I thought that I feel like Hero could have really ran with it, but I guess he wanted to finish it off in this chapter. But still, good chapter. It was a good chapter. On several facts. Number one, because of the ending of the fight. And number two, what occurred towards the end. Natsu's there. But that's not what I'm talking about. It's nothing to do with Natsu. It has to do with Gray. And next week's chapter, and what it's called. And so those are my reasonings, give or take, for going back into the Fairy Tale game, Fairy Tale chapter reviews. So, and this chapter was 386, Galaxia Blade. I'm going to call this Galaxia Blade the power of the cosmos. I'm going to go with that. Because essentially, what occurred in this chapter, what the Celestial King did, is he called forth the power of the stars, essentially. And I thought it was done well. I would love to see this shit in the anime. I really, really want to see this shit in the anime done. Because I can only imagine the massive amount of how great the animation will be when they do this shit. I can only imagine it, it's like, wow. But, yeah, Galaxia Blade, chapter 386, let's go in. Essentially, he's fighting Hades, and we see Lucy, and she's defeated, whatever that guy's face was, the jackal. And she's knocked out, essentially, and and a few of the members, which is Zero, this fish-looking guy, shark-looking guy, says, Jackal's magic power is his beard, and Silver's basically saying also only one lives. And then we just see the Celestial King fighting Hades, and this fight was pretty epic. I don't know what everybody else thinks, but I just because on the alone fact that Lucy was able to summon the Celestial King, and then you get the Celestial King against Hades, and they have this epic battle. This just blows my mind. But he's basically fighting him, a few here and there. He's asking him, Hades is asking him, like, movements of strugglish and shit, and saying, and Celestial King asking his old friend for more, requested you lend me more, all the power that you have. And he's like, this is the end of the world for you. He's like, if not, if I destroy you first. So he does this thing. He points the sword to the sky. He's pointing his sword to the sky, and all these clouds open up, and you see the stars. And I'm like, oh my god, we're gonna see something epic. I can already sense it. It's gonna be huge, whatever this attack is. And he says, let the 88 constellations of the heavens shine now, infinite starlight, Galaxia Blade. And we got this page at the bottom, panel at the bottom, page 8, where it's just like a globe thing. And you see the stars and shit. It's more like it's opening up for the stars. And he does Galaxia Blade, and he thinks Hades is a full frontal attack. Huge blast of light. Just a massive amount of light coming down. And Next page, you just see this beam. It's like a blast from the heavens. It's like the stars themselves, just blasted their light upon the earth, and it was awesome as fuck. And that's probably gonna be the thumbnail because it was just massive. It was just a massive amount of light that came down, and it looked epic as fuck. And I'm like, God damn, kudos, kudos for Hero pulling this off with the Celestial King. And he's like, oh, you willing to let the summoner that's close by become collateral damage? And he smirks to Hades, and he's like, it can't be. And then we just go back, and we see Minerva looking on to Urza. Did I say Urza? I meant Urza. And she's basically saying, what on is this line, and so on and so forth. And you have Urza coming out. So apparently, what the light does is it frees everyone. It frees everyone who was trapped. Because he explains later on, the Celestial King, that it destroys all darkness. All of the darkness that's there. Now, my thing is, though, is according to what Master Hades said, from Grimoire Hearts, when a few chapters ago, he mentioned to Natsu and Lucy to tell Makarov to release the fairy tale light. And I'm wondering, this is a good question to figure out for the next couple of chapters coming in. Is human Historia the thing that's in the basement of fairy tale? Is that more powerful than the Galaxia Blade? I think so. It goes to show you, it must be really powerful compared to the Galaxia Blade. But basically that happens. Urza gets freed, and he's like, Minerva's borderline Yuri. I'm sorry, but she's really thirsty for Urza. Like she says to her, come and show me exactly what you're made of, my beloved Urza. I'm like, damn, what are you doing, bitch? So everyone else is getting up, Gray and everyone's been freed. And then Hades like, you managed to dispel Algeria. He's like, the radiance, and this is what he says, Celestial King, radiance of the stars is a pure offering which erodes all darkness. So I'll leave it to my old friends to take care of your demise. And he's like, damn you, and stuff. And he tells him, damn you, and so on and so forth. And then the Celestial King leaves. He just disappears. So obviously that is over with. And he's a Celestial Spirit King. And then Hades starts turning into stone. So obviously that blast must have affected him. Like totally turned him into stone, and he's gone. I was like, whoa, damn, that must have been really powerful. And he's basically saying, do you think you can stop Margir, this mouse for all of humankind? Do you ever forget? Don't you ever forget it. And then the shark guy's there, and he's basically saying that, oh, Jackal and Amy were defeated, this little brat. What kind of magic did she use? And then Lucy's basically saying, everyone I've got to. And then he's ready to kill her. This is exactly why I told him to kill her immediately. Then Gajil shows up and hits the guy. And it's just like a kind of like weird setup. We have Gajil hitting this guy. And then the guy the guy that was fighting Lucy beforehand with the mask, he shows up. And then we have Juvia attacking him with a water Nubella. Then Silver shows up, and he just says, how about I put you on ice? And then Gray shows up and says, not a chance, and he hits him with the ice. And then there's that moment where Lucy says Gray, and the guy who was fighting Juvia for a split second says Silver's ice was canceled out. And you get this look between Silver and Gray, and I was like... I mean, everyone pretty much knew that Silver might have been or was Gray's father. I mean, I had my doubts for that because I wasn't 100% sure because of of certain instances. Like I think a few people might have said, "Oh, I thought Gray, that was Gray's a future of Gray. You know, it was Gray from the future, but that would make no sense." So obviously, it seems like this is Gray's father. Yeah. So that happens, and then this guy who fought Loxus shows up, who's resurrected, and yes, and he shows up. Natsu's there though, and he absorbs the flames and the fire and everything, and he basically saying, end of the chapter, "Oh, Lucy saved our asses." Like, who? And he's saying, well, now looky here, you know, basically, all these dudes lined up. And already you can tell Gray's going to fight Silver. The shark guy is going to fight Gajeel. The guy who's just throwing flames is going to fight Natsu. And the guy that just exchanged hands with Juvia is going to fight Juvia. So that's the lowdown of it. And it's like, he goes, now I'm fired up. And then just him doing this and a few words saying how she reached out and all her comrades, blah, blah, blah. To be continued in chapter 387, Tartaros, Arc, Part 3, Father and Son. So that's the end of the chapter. Now, I really like this setup. Now, I really mean it. I liked the beginning part of the chapter. That was really where it was, you know, that was special. That whole Galaxia Blade shit was like OP as all hell. I mean, you're using the power of the stars. Now, I think this was similar to the spell Lucy might have used, but I'm not 100% sure. But overall, good chapter. 4 out of 5. I'm not interested in Natsu. To be perfectly honest there. I'm more interested in next week, this father and son thing. Most likely it's going to be Gray and Silver. Can't wait till this shit goes down. It's going to be awesome. I have a feeling. This is going to be really good. Out of everything that's been going on in this arc with the Tartaros and everything, this is something that I think some people, fans of Fairy Tail, might actually be looking forward to the most. I'm actually looking forward to this. Because here's the thing. You don't really know much about Gray. I mean, the only thing we know about Gray, and I'll just finish it off on this, is, you know, he trained with Leon and, you know, his teacher, Oon. But that's it. I mean, we know that he was in the town that was destroyed by Daedalus. Can't even say that name. That's all. So if this guy is Gray's father, maybe we'll get into some answers also, like who's Gray's mother, you know, all this other jazz. And we know that he's got like this scar on his head, Silver, but we don't know. He's supposedly a demon. Like, you know, it's like, what happened? You know, should be interesting to see. But that's a chapter, pretty good chapter. Like I said, that Galaxia Blade was OP as fuck. I mean, seriously, it just comes down and everyone gets, you know, what have you. And, yeah, very good chapter, very good chapter. I'm Bonkai 922. I will catch you guys later. Silver and Gray. It's going to be fucking awesome. I'll see you guys later. Peace.